Okay, we should be good to go now. I am not very well prepared today because I just remembered that I had scheduled a stream like a couple of minutes ago because I was making like miniature cinnamon rolls, and I've not had time to test them yet, but they look really good. But I was busy with that. So here we are now. What we're going to be doing is continuing on where we left off last week. And that is doing some gameplay ability stuff. So last week we added these attacks, which hold on a moment. I'm going to set my speaker to being that one, so you guys don't get the echo. So we made these ones, and today we're going to focus on the special ability for this weapon, which is the next thing down the line. So for that we first need to have a animation as well. So let's get started with that. To give a brief overview of the goal, what we're going to be doing today is I'll just actually show you a video if I can find it real quick. I'm not sure that I'll be able to. Maybe this will do. Let's try this video out. So the idea here is to make something similar to this. So we have a move that draws in everything around us, and then we attack those things that we've drawn in. I don't know if I'll be doing the rotation thing, because that's going to make the math a lot more complicated. And while it does look cool, it's also going to make this very likely to break down. So we might and probably will skip over that. What we'll be doing instead is I will be checking my phone real quick, because people always text me. Ah, there we go. My oven has finally cooled down. People always text me when I'm streaming, because what the fuck? And we're just going to mute that, because I don't want people to bother me anymore. That should be muted now. If not, we're going to figure it out soon anyway. So for that we first need a rotation-based animation, which we already have something somewhat similar to that, but this is going to need to last a little bit longer. So we'll probably make this one long animation if I had to guess. So what I'll probably end up doing is finding my animations first and foremost. The idea is that we can just copy over one of the animations that we already have and extend it. So we have our scythe attack 3. If we just use that as our special attack, scythe attack, whatever, that'll work. This already is a rotating animation, right? So we already have this part of it, and this is pretty much like this last part of it without a wind up. So starting here is pretty much what the end movement is going to be, and it's going to have more particles than the normal one, but this is pretty much what we can keep. So with that in mind, we just use this as, like, I don't know, we draw them in for 2.5 seconds and then do that, something like that. Let's start with that. And honestly, we can just kind of keep this guy in one pose for the entirety of that. So let's just go to frame 70 and set up the pose that we're going to be gathering these things around us in. Why is it not showing? Oh, because I'm in game view mode. That makes a lot of sense suddenly. So I'm thinking we probably want him to not have the scythe as much holding it out, just holding it closer to his body. In general. And just in general, this is going to be a more like hunched over, hunched in kind of bows is what I'm thinking. So something like this, and then over here what we can do is, can we realistically get this to a point where his hand is on the scythe here as well? Does that look decent? I mean, it doesn't look bad. Now the only thing is we need to, yeah, I was kind of afraid of that. Make this thing lay down flatter a little bit. So, okay, that's a good start. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, we can do something with that. We could probably also just use inverse kinematics for this, to be 100% real with you, but I've had some trouble switching between two in the past because I haven't set up my rig completely to support that. I probably should, but at this point I think it's easier to just deal with it in animation than fixing up my rig. Okay, so we'll be rotating in the direction that, like in this direction, I think, right? Because then when we get to this point, the scythe keeps rotating and then we slice back the other way. That makes sense. So let's add some rotation. Also, probably want to like tuck in the legs a little bit more, because this is going to be a thing where he's in midair, so probably a good idea to do all that. So something like this might be actually a bit much. Can we just pull this one up? We can. Okay, let's stick with this for now, and then we'll do the full body rotation. Let's see, rotation yaw. We're gonna set that to 0 here. And then just kind of figure out how many rotations we want to do here. Hold off. That's probably way too much, right? That's way too much, yes. Let's figure out which direction first. I think this is the direction that we want to be moving in. No, actually it is not. So we want to be moving in the opposite direction, right? And then also, definitely we keep this at 0 for now. Why aren't you? You're being a bitch. Well, that works for me as well. Just remove and re-add the keyframe. Yeah, so we're starting with animation stuff again. This is not doing anything at the moment. Why is that? Because for some reason this is now set to 0. This should be minus 360. So we're rotating that way. And then here we are rotating the other way, which is positive 360. That's the idea anyway. That seems about right. So we do that, which apparently is 2 rotations. Why? Because this goes up to positive 360. You know, I don't really care. So let's make this 360, 720, minus 720. 4 rotations total. Why doesn't it do that? It's really weird why it keeps fucking up like that. Can I just... I can do this, but that's not ideal. Hold on, why is it slower than it was before? Something's going really weird with this, I'm telling you. Let's view this in curve mode. Full body, we've got the yaw rotation. Like honestly, just make this linear for now. I know it's not going to look particularly great, but maybe it'll be good enough. Yeah, that's definitely not what I want though. Okay, let's set this back to... Why does this now suddenly say minus 720? This should say 0. And then this one should say... Hold on, which direction again? Minus 360. So this is 1 full rotation, right? Yes. Which means that this needs to start from the negative to the... Yeah, now this should also start from negative to positive. So clearly this is still not enough. 360 times 5 is 1500 something. Let's just do minus... Wait, what was it that to begin with? That's about double what it is now. So minus 1500. See what that looks like. I honestly think that we can go faster. I think we can go faster than that. So let's add another fucking 1000 to it. Let's go until we feel like it's too fast and then we can dial it back in a little bit. Yeah, this might be a little too fast. But then again, it might not be. It might be good. I think I like that. Yeah, let's stick with this for now. We can always come back and update this animation. For now, it only really matters that we have an animation so we can start doing some code-related stuff. So we can jump in here. We can create a linked animation sequence. Of course, we've got to find where I put those. So, animation sequence, special attack, scythe. And now I gotta wonder actually, because I've never done this, can you build in particle emitters into an animation sequence like that? Like if I put a particle emitter in here now, right? I think that's a thing that I could do. Like add a... Oh, that needs to be a actor in here, so that's definitely not gonna work. Okay, we'll do it differently. That's fine. That's entirely okay with me. Let me move things around a little bit so I can actually read both of the chats, just in case somebody happens to stumble upon the Twitch stream. It's very unlikely, but it's theoretically possible, so we should keep it open. Also, let me check if my heater is on, because it feels like it's very warm in here, and it shouldn't be that hot. No, it's not. My radiator is cold, so it's just the fact that I had the oven blasting hot air into my room. That's fine. It'll cool down eventually. Now, special attack time, isn't it? It kind of scares me. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I haven't planned this out, so this is going to be a lot of stumbling about most likely, but we'll make it work. First and foremost, what we need to do is make that thing into a animation montage. So let's go animation sequences. Somewhere in here is a special attack for the scythe. Special attack scythe, there we go. Create anim montage. Put it into the montages folder. I'm trying to keep things organized. Keyword being trying. Very much not succeeding. And here we need to still put in the... Do I just do the normal damage event, or do I do something custom? Just anything within a certain radius gets damaged. I think I'm going to do it with a custom thing. That way everything gets damaged at once. And I think that'll look more satisfying to do. Because otherwise there will be a split second between everything getting damaged, and there will be a chance that things are too close by to get damaged, or just a little too far away to get damaged. And I'm not going to rely on the hitbox for the weapon, I don't think. So we don't actually need to put any events into that, I don't think. Yeah, no, we don't. So let's make the gameplay ability, shall we? Blueprints, player, gameplay ability system, gameplay abilities. And we just kinda have to make one from scratch, don't we? It's been a while since I've done that. We have the sword special attack somewhere. Player teleport attack. Let's just copy that over and call this scythe special attack. Now, there's a lot of code in here already that we're going to just ignore, honestly. We do need to still have the cast to the third-person character, have a reference to the player. And then everything after that, I think we kind of just remove because... Oh, committability. We also need committability. Let's do that as well. And then we don't need to do anything else here, really. So we can remove pretty much everything. There is a ability end as well, somewhere in here. Oh, on ability end. Yeah, I can delete that too. We'll worry about that later. So we select everything and you go bye-bye. Okay, first things first, what we need to do is we need to get the list of all of the enemies that are nearby. Luckily, the player is already always keeping track of that. So we can simply get near... That's only C++ accessible. Let's make that a U property real quick. Player character. Nearby enemies is already a U property because otherwise it gets garbage collected. That is correct. Actually, I don't think you even need that. I think a TRA always keeps what is in it loaded as well. Not entirely sure on that though. But we have the U property and we'll just make that blueprint read only. Probably should actually close this because this shows my IP. It's taken a while to compile. So how's everybody doing today? Start of a new week. Everybody been productive on this Monday, or everybody just same as me, one of those like, it's Monday again kind of deals. Get nearby enemies. And let's just promote that to a variable because we're going to use this quite a lot. Now, for the nearby enemies, what we're going to do is very good question. What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? We definitely need a for each loop. Because each one of them is going to have to move. Question is, can I move other characters easily with apply root motion? To actor force? I can do this to other actors seemingly, so we can get the avatar actor. And then we can get actor location, and that will be the location that they're pulling toward. Let's say over a duration of how long was our rotating animation again? Let's see. Animations, characters, player, animation sequence, special attack scythe. So, of course, I didn't properly mute. I think I set this to 2.5 seconds, right? So let's do 2.3 seconds for the duration here. 2.3 seconds. And I also actually want to set their movement mode to flying. So I need to cast to character for all of them first. Do I actually? Because they're all... they're just actors. Okay. Cast to character. Sure. I make them just normal actor references. I don't know why. Probably because I thought that would be a little bit more performant, and it really wouldn't be because I need to have an include to character anyway on the player character class. So I might as well have made them characters. And I think I even have an include to enemy just because. So I could have just made them enemies, but this will work. Set movement mode to flying. That way gravity won't pull them back down until the very end when I hit them. Oh, it already has something built in for that. Never mind. That's actually amazing. Yes, I want to set a new movement mode, and I want to set that movement mode to flying. Sweet. Really cool. Hello. Velocity on finish mode, maintain last root motion velocity. We want to set velocity on finish, and we set it to that. And we don't need to put anything in for these, I don't think. So on finished, what we do is nothing. We wait for the attack itself to set them back to... no, actually, we don't even set them back to anything, do we? Because we just applied the knockback effect, and that then at the end sets them back to falling mode, I think. Let's double check whether or not that's the case. I have somewhere in here, surely. I think in characters? No? Maybe in AI? Definitely not in AI. In enemies, there we go. Gas. Gameplay abilities. Gameplay ability knockback. This sets the movement mode immediately to falling on beginning. So we don't need to worry about setting the movement mode back. If we just apply the knockback effect to them, that'll be all good. So I am going to actually don't need to do this cast anymore either. I am actually going to put in an animation notify. I just decided, because I want this animation notify to start the actual attack portion, and that's going to send through a gameplay event. So we'll add a notify here. We'll make a new notify, notify special attack starts. Does that make sense to call it that? I don't know that it does. Why are you good at this? I don't know that I am. But for the little bit of stuff that I do know and I'm decent at, just lots of practicing, I guess. And then notify. And also just generally always having been curious as to like how video games work from like a very young age. So always been thinking about, okay, so how does this work and how would they make something like that function? So even long before I started programming myself, why is the notify not there? Oh, there it is. So even long before I started programming and making games myself, I was like thinking about this kind of stuff a lot. So that definitely also did help. As third-person character, get ability system component, pretty please, and there we can send gameplay event. Is that how we do it? I don't remember. Gameplay event to actor. That's just a normal function. We don't even need the ability system component for that. The event tag will be a very good question. What will the event tag be? Probably just like attack, right? I don't think that we are doing anything else with an attack. Like player dot. Let's just make a new child tag here. Add sub tag. Player dot attack. Player dot attack is what we're sending through. The payload. Do we really need to put... Oh my god, that's a lot. Do we really need to put stuff into that? I muted you because you were spamming before the stream even started. Kind of figured you were just a bot. So that's why I muted you. I didn't realize that you weren't an automated bot. I figured I'm not going to start my stream with a bot spamming in my chat, so that's why. Let's see. The instigator and target, optional objects, context. We don't really need to do anything with the payload here. We just need to send the message that, hey, do something. So let's do something. Going back into gameplay ability, wait for gameplay events. Wait for gameplay events. We'll wait for a gameplay event with player attack as the tag. Only trigger once. Yeah, probably. And then when event is received, what we'll do is we'll can we like, get overlapping actors or something? Sphere overlap actors. That's exactly what I want. Sphere position will be our actors location. And the sphere radius will be quite big, I imagine. I just don't know how big, but bigger than the radius of the actual weapon. We want this to be like very satisfying, and if something is just outside of our radius, it should just also get attacked. And we can do an actor class filter actually, so we can say only enemies will get hit by this. That's quite nice. Let's set the radius for now to something like 500. And then for each one of those, we're going to do another for each loop, because that's just kind of the way we do. I just realized we might actually just want to set this to like 4 seconds. No, let's not. Let's also not do that. We'll have to debug and worry about all that kind of stuff in a moment. But for each one of these, we're going to get the game ability system component. I always try to call it gameplay ability system component, but it's not called that. So then we'll apply gameplay effect to target, and the effect that we'll apply will be our damage. But how does enemy damage work again? Do I need to supply anything for that, or does that just read the stuff? Let's see, this takes in a calculation execution, and that's the thing that I wrote. Damage enemy. It's in here somewhere, right? We have damage enemy. I'll just read what that does again. Yeah, so this takes in all of the relevant attributes automatically, so I don't need to supply anything, because that's why I wrote this, to work to begin with. Maybe though this should work differently, and this should go through it definitely should deal more damage, right? It shouldn't just attack one, like a normal attack. So can we calculation modifiers? We can say the damage, strength. I think doesn't really matter. Let's multiply that by like 3. So we deal triple the damage. How do you get your game IDs? Just a lot of stuff that I'm like, I really want this to exist, but it doesn't. So I'm gonna make it. Which means that I have more IDs than I have time to make them with. which is annoying. But at least I'm never running out of IDs. Like, as long as I live, unless I get like millions and millions of dollars somehow in budget to start making these games with like big teams, and even then it'll probably scale my ambitions up, and I'm not running out of ideas in the next 25 years at least. I'm not going to say my entire life, but probably my entire life. At least the next 20 or so years I'm probably set as far as game ideas go, because there's a lot of things that I want to exist and just don't exist. The ironic downside is that after working for like thousands of hours on a project like this, you can't just sit down and enjoy it anymore. So I am making things I wish existed so other people can play them, because I'll be fucking damned if I'll actually end up playing this a lot once it's finished, because through the process of making it, I'll have played it more than any reasonable person should. Okay, so we can damage the enemies, and then we'll also... I think this is actually going to be it. Maybe. We'll see. And then after that, we'll also try to activate gameplay... activate gameplay ability by class. Because we'll also want to make them knockback. And I think that's kind of everything there is to it, I'm not going to lie. So after that, we can just end ability. Aside from the fact that I actually... Hold on a moment. What I want to do is I also, after we decide to commit ability, I want to jump. And why do I want to jump? Because that makes sure that we're in midair when doing this. Maybe I'll need to make a separate new animation for this. We'll see in a moment, okay? If that ends... Oh, I also need to actually... I also need to run the animation montage on my character. That will be a big part of this as well. So let's jump delay for about 0.15 seconds. Does that sound good? I think that sounds good. And then we play animation montage. So play animation, play montage and wait is what it's called. Montage and wait. Move everything here more to the left so things fit. And we just immediately move into the rest there. That's fine. Montage to play will be our special attack for the scythe. And we'll also stop jumping. Hold on, we need to do that from the character. Stop jumping and set movement mode. Set movement mode. And we'll do that to flying, because again we don't want gravity to have an effect on you while you're doing this move. And that's the easiest way to do that. Then on end ability, we want the player to just start falling again. That's on end ability. We just want to set movement mode back to falling. This will probably still allow you to move around, which I don't necessarily want, maybe. We'll figure that out in a moment. The current value of object type query 1 of type object type spin is invalid. Why? Oh, object types. what do we want to test for? That's a very good question. We want to test for pawns. And that should be all there is to that, I do believe. We should end ability once this is finished, actually. So when the animation is finished, we end ability. That's the basic bones of it, without any fancy particle effects or anything like that. But let's first test whether or not this theoretically functions. I think that's a good idea. So let's go third-person character. No, let's not go into a third-person character, actually. No, definitely we still need to. Never mind. Because we want to give this ability to the character as well, which, again, we're going to need to do in a less clunky way at some point. Well, we don't need to, but we probably should. But for now, this will do. Gameplay ability, special attack. Okay, now. Blueprints, player, scythe, you have a special attack somewhere in here, right? Do you? That's left over from the old system. Probably should remove that at some point. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember where I put the special attack. I don't think that's a property. Which makes me really wonder... how I trigger the other one. Do I just... do I have that hard-coded? Because that would be bad. Special attack. Oh, okay. So at the moment, that is still hard-coded. I mean, you can talk in chat. That's no bother. I just didn't know you were an actual person. For now, let's just move this over to doing it this way. But we're also, if we have time left over today, which most likely we will, right? We'll probably also then start putting the special attack abilities as variables on the weapons themselves. But for now, let's give this all a test. Definitely not here though, because... well, this is not going to do a lot, is it? My frame rate fucking sucks, and also it's not displaying particles for some reason. Before we do anything else, just because of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this thing down, and we're going to just build from source real quick. Just to ensure that everything works as intended. If we walk into any bugs, at least it won't be live coding related. Okay, so that compiled, obviously. Because we only made one new property difference. That's not going to crash or compile. I mean, sometimes it does. It shouldn't, but sometimes it does. And then we'll also immediately be in the right map to test this out anyway. I probably should actually check in that gameplay ability whether or not the surrounding, like, nearby enemies, if there's at least one of them. Because if there's no nearby enemies, I probably should just not allow you to do that move to begin with. Just to, like, save some annoyance. But we'll figure this out. Number one, why the fuck does my weapon disappear while I'm in battle? And number two, why does my special ability not activate? I remapped that to left control, right? Did I remap that to something else? Did I remap it to X? Z? The fuck? Okay. Certainly something happened. I think I know what happened. I think I have a decent idea what happened. What happened is that... No, never mind. I thought what ended up happening is it's trying to pull the character itself. So, that still might be happening, actually. The nearby enemies might actually just straight up include the player. Let me check that. Don't judge me too much for the code you're about to see, because it's all up in one function. Update nearby enemies. Does that exclude the player? It should. So we have the overlapping actors array, we have the player's location, we have the actors to ignore, which is just the player character itself. Do we use that though, is the question now. Sphere overlap actors. This player location, radius, object type, spawn, actors to ignore, overlapping actors. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's get rid of this for a second just to test out if something else is going all haywire. Because that might be the cause, that might not be the cause, I don't know, we're about to find out. Also, I'm going to trigger this cutscene and I'm going to go back and save again, because otherwise we're going to watch that cutscene every fucking time we want to try and do something with this, and that's not great, so let's not do that. That's a huge waste of our time. I mean, certainly something happened there, but we definitely want to also stop all momentum. Yeah, definitely also want to stop all momentum when we stop jumping. We also never stop jumping. That might be part of the issue there. Definitely not the issue with what happened with the nearby enemies, and frankly I'm a little confused because that did seem to solve the issue that we had. So I guess what we'll just do is we'll add in a branch node where we check if that actor is the same as the player. So equal get player character. We already have the get avatar thing actually. Well, too bad. So if it's not the player character, we do this. Did I not? Did I still forget to put in the stop jumping? I didn't. Okay. Let's try again. It's still trying to move the character itself towards 0, 0, 0. I believe that's what's happening. And it's not doing anything to the other actors, which is actually potentially even more worrying. Okay, hold on. Let's also print string the names of all these things, just to make sure that they're doing something. And also to make sure whether or not the player is in that list. Yeah, no, he's not. So why the fuck does that impact the player at all? And why does it not impact the I'm confused. Oh, target actor is not hooked up. That would be why. That would be why. Okay. So now it should pull all of the enemies toward me, in theory, right? Still doesn't. It still pulls me into nowhere. Let's try to just get player character's location. It should be the same, but it might for some fucking reason not be. I'm going to try it here first. Okay, at least we're back to this, which is good. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know, okay? Do we have any other apply root motion that I can use instead? Apply move actor to force. Move to force. Wait, is that a force or a location? Target, location, offset. Apply force to character's movement. Target is ability, task, apply root motion, actor to force. That doesn't help me that much though. What do I use in a knockback? In a knockback I use root motion jump force. What do I use in my sword attack? Which at this point is no longer just a sword attack, I realize, but let's just ignore that for the time being. We do apply root motion, move to force. Let's try that one then, see if it does anything different. Apply root motion, move to force. Just see if that does anything at all different. Oh, hold on. The issue... Yeah, okay, now I understand now. I understand what went wrong. The issue is that it's difficult to run this on other actors around you. I'm gonna publish this at some point. The game doesn't have a name yet, which is kind of bad. Okay, so this is gonna be a little bit more trouble than I thought it was going to be. So what we will do is experiments. We have like a ability task tick that I made, and with made I mean kind of copied. On tick, what we'll do is, and this is not ideal, but we will let's cast this to character real quick. Get rid of this. We can also get rid of this, that's fine. we'll first set movement mode to flying. When one thing doesn't work, we just do it some other way. And after we do that, we... No, that's about everything there is to it, actually. After that, we set the velocity to whatever it needs to be. In theory, anyway. We'll get two actor... Oh, no, we don't want to copy that over. We get two actor locations, one for the actor itself. We don't need that to be the character. We find the look at rotation. And that will be our velocity. Of course, we need to multiply that with a vector. Or with a float, I mean. Single position will be good. And let's set that to 300 times delta time, actually. Because it's a tick thing. So delta time times like 300. This might be a little too slow still, but we'll figure this out as we go. So in theory, this should also work. But in theory, I thought the last thing would work, and then it didn't. So the fuck do I know? Let's get started on this, and... Okay. We definitely also want to stop this thing from flying all the way up. So when we when we stop jumping, we also want to set this thing's velocity just to 0. Set velocity simply just to 0, 0, 0. So that we're stuck in air. And yeah, that didn't work though. Still, like, aside from everything else, that didn't seem to work at all. Which is not great. Because that was my backup plan. My backup plan seems to also be flawed in some way, shape or form. Oh, no, 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 no. It does the thing. It does the thing. I mean, there's still issues, clearly. But we're getting somewhere. That's the wrong ability. We're getting somewhere. This probably just needs to be a bit higher as well. So let's set that to like 1,000 just to see. I want to really feel like they're getting sucked in a lot. And at the moment they seem to be moving quite slowly. And also not being grabbed if they're already in midair for some reason. And not getting set back to falling mode. So there's a lot of issues here. I also need them to just stop their current movement immediately. Stop movement immediately. That's the reason the other ones weren't getting pulled in, because they were trying to move away from me to begin with. So I need them to stop, to force to stop moving. It's a half a sentence. And then they should all be pulled in toward me and allow me to, let's see. Still seems to be having a couple of... now they're all being pulled into me all the time. I think. Yeah. Definitely seems like it. Until I hit them, that is. So maybe it's just that they're always flying? Just to be sure, we'll just set all of them for each loop. At the end of the ability, we'll all set them back to falling mode. So we'll just cast to character, which is kind of a waste because we already did a dynamic cast before. But hey, what do you know? Do you know Roblox? I know it by name, never interacted with it, and I do plan to keep it that way. Set movement mode, and we'll set that just to falling. There's a lot of room for improvement still. Okay, 500 might also just be quite a large range. But some of them don't seem to be being pulled in toward me. Either that or my enemies in range radius is a lot shorter than I thought it was, which, if that's the case, I just need to update that. Yeah, no, that's... also, Outlook, could you stop spamming me with emails? That would be very fucking nice. So yeah, there's still just also issues with this, isn't there? Let me Google if I can. Otherwise, what I'll do is I will have to just make a gameplay ability that pulls people toward me. That also works. I prefer for it not to work that way, but hey, what do you know? Unreal gameplay ability system, route motion to other actor. How to move a character or actor to simulate route motion completely broken. And all of this is gameplay ability system related though. And I kind of was worried about that. Applying a gameplay effect on the hit actor that will grant a knockback ability. Yeah, that's also the way my knockback works. So I think that's the way we're going to have to do this. So let's make that ability. It's a game where you can make games and also use like Roblox Studio. I know what Roblox is. But I have very little interest in actually exploring that. Enemies, gameplay ability system, gameplay ability, blueprint class, gameplay ability. Gameplay ability pool to player. On activate ability, what we'll do is apply route motion move to actor, and that actually works out very well in this case, because what we'll do is we'll just get the player character. And we don't need any particular offset or anything, so we can just say move towards that character with a timer of like 2 seconds, and the movement mode will be flying. And on finish, we'll just set the velocity to 0, 0, 0. So that should be as easy as it is, actually. Is that really going to be all there is to it? So we can get rid of all this, because this didn't fucking work. Like, not even a little. We do want to stop movement immediately, though. We still do need that. And then we just give, try, give. No, we need to get ability, system components. Try, give ability, and activate once. Pull to player. This way I don't need to go into every enemy and give it this ability every single time. I should also really do this for the knockback, to be honest, but this will work for now. So, at least I hope. Let's test out if this will work. Poppy playtime is unfamiliar to me. I don't know what that is. If you know, one day you can make a tutorial on how to make a grab pack. I have no idea what that is, so I'm not entirely sure. Okay, let's give this another go. See if this pulls things toward me. It seems to. It doesn't do the damage properly, but we're getting somewhere. Does it give me any messages about? No, it does not. Can we end the ability or something like that? Clear ability? No. Well, we could still act. We still could. Probably shoot. Maybe. Oh, we'll figure it out. For now. Gameplay ability knockback. This is the knockback toward the enemy, right? So this is knockback weight. Yeah, let's test out whether or not this is getting activated to begin with, because it feels like it might not be. Also, I don't think I'm dealing any actual damage. Is that right? It's at least trying to knock them back, it's just not doing it. Why? Oh, the apply gameplay effect to target, definitely. I always get mixed up because there's two pins called targets. The top one is the target of whatever is supposed to execute this, which is always... Oh, that's also why there's not any damage being dealt. That makes sense as well. So we get ability system components from our avatar and deal that to... Okay, so at least now it should be dealing the damage as well. And that might also be why the... Is that why the knockback wasn't working? I don't know. We'll find out shortly, I suppose. I mean, the damage was dealt, but it did 1 HP to all of them, and the knockback still didn't work, so... I'm not sure that's exactly what I was going for. Let's try to see what the damage dealing looks like in my sword attack base. Because there we wait for the damage.player, and there, oh yeah, there we do like all of this shit as well. A lot of this we don't actually need to do, like increasing the revenge counter we don't want to do with this, and we don't need to reset defense. We do still want to check for destroy enemy, but we'll worry about that a little bit later on. For now, what I want to check is the enemy damage. Am I setting any stuff earlier on here? I guess I am. But I'm not... I don't think I'm using this at any point anymore. Am I? Can we find references? Get damage. That should be this one. And then get damage. I don't think that we're using this at all anymore. Oh, we do want to update. Oh, we do the update damage thing. That's right. So, in theory, if I just do this real quick and stack up my damage real high, now that ability will deal more damage because I have set my damage value attribute. Yes, it does. Okay. Like by quite a lot. Okay. So we need to still do that. That's fair. That's entirely fair. Sword attack. So what we do is... Future stop motioner. I like that name. Hello. We also need to set the knockback. That makes a lot of sense as well. So we should just be able to kind of like copy all of this over. And just slot that shit all right into here. Let's put that in after commit ability. So just put all that in there. We might need a little bit more room to fit that in, but we'll worry about that later once we know that this actually works. And we need to maybe... Hold on, I just realized something. I need to set up some other stuff. Because what I just did a moment ago is I just make the damage enemy gameplay effect in general use triple the amount of damage that I have. So this should be set by color. And the data tag will be player.attack. Why not? Player.attack. And that changes a couple of things around a little bit as well. But now the default hopefully is 1. I'm going to be real upset if the default is 0. Oh, there's some issues here. Where are said issues? I know where they are. Get damage doesn't exist. That's the damage for this attack, right? Yes, it is. So we can just set this to like... Oh, we don't even need to do that then. We can just set this damage to like 35. Maybe even higher, to be honest. And then in enemy damage, we can just get rid altogether of this modifier. Because we don't need to modify that. We'll just put in a higher value to begin with. That makes things a lot simpler. And the same for the knockback. The knockback will be... it's a very good question. What will the knockback be? What is the knockback on my normal attacks? Because that's actually pretty decent. And I'll be a little bit more on this, obviously. Man, my brain is not working today. I'm sorry. Gameplay abilities, sword attack 3. Knockback is 160. So let's make the knockback for this like 280. That's 380. That might be a little much, but 280 seems pretty good. Maybe 380 is actually what we end up wanting. We'll see. And just for visual purposes, let's also equip the right weapon. Just because that's neat. Pull them in and attack all of them. Pull all of them in and attack all of them. Okay, so now I just need to make sure that it also like cancels their attacking animations and stuff, but for the most part, that actually works remarkably well to deal with like a group of enemies. Of course, it needs a lot of flashy particle stuff, which I am not 100% positive how I'm going to do all that yet. Probably through... Come on, I need more MP. Give me more mana. I have a save point nearby. Why am I doing this the difficult way? Anyway, and attack everything. I think we can do it more damage because everything around is going to also have like full defense. So either we need to make a gameplay ability that just bypasses defense altogether, or we just need to increase the damage by a lot. And since this is the special attack that we can't like exactly spam, I think increasing this to like 120 might not be overkill. It's okay if this just kills everything around you, because it costs quite a lot of MP, and to be fair, the other special ability that I have so far kills quite a bit around you as well. So, like this all... okay, it doesn't actually have the killing code implemented yet, but we can just copy that over, which really shouldn't be in this gameplay ability. I really should just move all this over to like the damage event. But maybe at some point in the near future I will do a like a code refactoring stream or something. We'll worry about that when the time comes. We want to get all of this. And we want to destroy enemy and call on damage. And also play a hurt animation. I think that's about everything there is to that. So let's scythe special attack. For all of these. We also want to like do the play montage and then we still need to do the dynamic cast. Damn it. Cast to I think it was ground enemy. I cast to before. In here, no, in there, in there. There we go. Ground enemy base. Yeah. So let's just keep that the same. Because my brain doesn't work at the moment. So let's not change around too many things if I can help it. And we need to reconnect some of these things up. And we immediately start this as well. And that should now allow me to also kill things with this ability. Except there is one thing that isn't doing what it should be doing, and it's... Oh, destroy enemy needs to have a target. That'll be easy to hook up as well. Okay, so now you should be able to also kill things with this ability. And the amount of damage it's doing right now might be a little high. We'll worry about the balancing portion of this a little bit later. Oh, but that is satisfying! Pulling them in and murdering everything. It's a little too powerful though. That is for damn sure. Like, just absolutely murdering my way through everything. Like, it's an instant kill on everything. And since it is also a move that hits a lot of different targets, it shouldn't be a viable option to use this against like one or two enemies. This should be reserved for dealing a decent amount of damage to a lot of enemies. So it should definitely be lower than what it is right now, because this is insane. Let's see, this is at 120 at the moment. Let's go down to like 80. 80 seems pretty good. Maybe that's still a little bit too much. Let's see. You see, 80 doesn't quite kill them, but it does make them all vulnerable. It also gets rid of their defense bars, but we still do have to do some like actual normal combats afterward. Which is exactly as I wanted. So 80 seems to have been a pretty good choice. And you can just do the same ability a second time to absolutely demolish them. But at that point, you're using up quite a bit of mana. So I feel like that's pretty much okay. I don't know what the hell's up with my sword still disappearing, even though I'm in combat. It shouldn't be allowed to do that, but we'll figure that out later. So that's pretty good. That means we want to start adding some flashy stuff. Some particle systems, some visual effects, some cool stuff. So the first thing we want to add is a particle system that that visualizes the pulling towards us. So what I'm thinking is we can actually make this a gameplay queue. Does gameplay queue work with gameplay ability, or is that only an effect? I think that's only with effects, right? We can't do a gameplay queue that happens for the duration of a ability, can we? Still might be worth just running an effect on the character that makes it, number one, invincible. Also, okay, makes it invincible, and also just runs the particles on this. But then again, some of the particles are going to need timing, so I don't think that's really going to work out that well. What we'll do instead is first, before we do anything else, what I want to do is when we start moving these guys, so in the pull toward player, I think makes the most sense. We also want to get avatar. We want to stop playing any montages. So stop montage. Montage. Is this just an object? No, it is an actor. Why isn't it allowing me to do any montage? Do we need the skeletal mesh from that? Let's cast to character. Chaos Solver actor. No, that's definitely not what I want. Cast to character. Stop montage. Stop anim montage. Get act. Let's check all the montages. Get current montage. Stop that one. That way it'll also stop us doing those attack animations. Or rather stop the enemies doing the attack animations. And then I probably also want to just have like a have them do a falling animation. Because I don't want to make a new separate animation for each enemy for just this ability. That would be insane. It would be better, but it would also be insane, so I'm not going to do it. It also should... Okay, let's try this. It stops the montage, but it doesn't stop them from doing the montage after it started. So... but I can stop them from doing the ability, because I can just set them to stunned. I can just set them to being stunned. That will stop their entire behavior tree from working. So that's exactly the kind of thing that I need. So class settings, and we can go in class defaults is what I mean. And we can say, let's see, activation owned tags is the tag to apply to activating owner while the ability is active. There we go. So we can just say, hey, stunned. Immobile, knockback, I don't think it really matters. Let's just say they're immobile. That should then also stop them from activating any other abilities after I do the pulling toward me. Because of course, if I'm going to pull them toward me, they're going to try to attack me. I do need to have an end ability for this as well. It's a very good point. How do I do that? I guess I end the ability once they get damaged. Wait for... wait gameplay event. And we'll wait for a damage event. Let's call this player.damage. Going back into the scythe ability. We're going back and forth between these abilities quite a lot, but we'll make this work. It'll be fine. When we apply all this stuff, let's also... Do we have the ability system component on this guy? We do. Send gameplay events. I keep forgetting that you can just send gameplay event, and that's not actually a thing. That's on the ability system components. Can I not send a gameplay event from inside an ability? Send gameplay event to actor. Did I just send gameplay event to actor? That's what we want to do. Okay. That's my mistake. And we did player.damage or something, right? Which usually we use that for entirely different purposes, so that's going to be really confusing in the future. I'm sure. But let's end ability when we do that. Which is interesting, because that does mean that this ability remains being active while the knockback happens. I was under the impression that you couldn't have two abilities active at the same time, usually, but that was a mistake on my part. You very much can. This kind of confirms that. So let's do all that, and then... maybe... just maybe it's a little too slow. Like the speed at which they're moving toward me feels like it could be faster. And the way we make that faster, I think, is just decreasing the duration for this. I wish you could say root motion and just let it move toward at a certain set speed. Why do they actually fall down there? There's no reason that they should. Because we're waiting for the gameplay event to set them back, and you know, I don't even care. Does this just set them back to the normal game, the normal movement mode that they had? Before? Oh, it's because I'm not setting the new movement mode to begin with. So that probably is the reason. So now it shouldn't let them drop back down. No, it does. It still does. You know what? Maybe the particles will make this look a little bit better. Maybe the particles will look a little bit better. So let's do the particle stuff. And then we'll worry about that other stuff a little later. That said, we're only an hour and a half in. We can do some particle stuff. VFX. I have some basic ideas, but not too much, if I'm being honest with you, for what I want to do. So let's just play around and figure this out, I suppose. Pull in VFX. Man, that is very badly mistyped. Okay, first and foremost, we don't want to have drag, we don't even want gravity force, we don't even want to add velocity. What we want to do is, for this one, I want to spawn the particles in a sphere, and the sphere radius is going to be like 150. And then I want to pull point force. is what it's called. Fix issues, whatever. And I want to make that point force -100, so that is pulling in. And then I also want to kill particles in volume. So if they reach the middle here, the particles just die. Maybe even make that a little bit bigger. Not that big. Why are these particles still spraying all over the place? Because they're in particle spawn, not in particle updates. Yeah, that's more like what I wanted. Okay, kill particles and then set this to like 20. So we just have this. That's more what I was looking at. Welcome back. So this looks like something is charging up. And then I also want one of these, but instead of it being a shape location for a sphere, what I want is I want it to be on a ring or a disc. And here the spawn rate is going to be significantly higher. Let's set that to like 150. And I also don't want these to spawn in random order, but I want them to spawn in direct order. So we do that. Maybe 150 is a little much. I'll be honest. Maybe 90 was good. And then also what I want, I think, is... Okay, so both of these can be GPU sims. We'll refine things a little bit as we go along. Oh, but they can't have dynamic bounce. Sure, let's just make them fixed bounce. I don't really care. And then we'll copy this one over, and instead this has to be a CPU sim with what I'm going to do. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this point force, so we don't need to apply initial forces. And we'll initialize particle. Actually, maybe we don't even need what I thought we needed. Hold on. We're going to test this. We're going to test this. Direct set this to like half a second. And instead of a sprite render, what I just want is I want this to be a ribbon. Of course, it needs to be a little bit wider. So we do the ribbon attributes with direct sets. We just set that to be significantly wider. And all of these are going to eventually be purple. But for now, let's just keep it at this while we're testing things out. And then we also, in particle update, scale ribbon width from curve. so it has a tapered end. And this is pretty much the rough idea of what I had in mind for this system. So let's see what this looks like when we add it in. This one will start right here. So let's move all this shit over a little bit so we actually have room to put this in, because it'll start right when the montage starts as well. Just before it, just after it, doesn't really matter. Niagara system, spawn Niagara system attached is I think what I want. We shouldn't be moving around with this anyway, but just in case, attach to components. That'll be our player fucking skeletal mesh components. No, that's asset. That's not what we want. Get mesh. That should allow me to put that in there, right? And then we do the Boolean VFX. Location rotation will be the local rotation, I think. Location type is snap to target, including world scale. Keep world scale. Let's do including scale. And auto destroy, auto activate. Pooling methods. Don't really care. And we want to promote that to a variable so we can also stop it. Pool particles. Let's call it pool VFX because it's easier to type. Time to do another test. I'm from the Netherlands. Nether. Except I'm not actually from Minecraft. No, I'm not. Okay, two things. They should be local space and they should not include scale. I think that's both of those are pretty apparent after what we just saw. So first and foremost, keep world scale, and then we also just want to deactivate it once we do this. So we just deactivate. And hopefully that also automatically kills the particles or the system. I guess we'll find out. Oh, it also needs a little bit of a offset in the Z direction because now it spawns them in at my feet and that doesn't look very good. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Let's add all of these to local space though. Just in case I move while they're still active, I want them to like move in local space all instead of global space. And I again forgot to add some offset. Damn it. Guess that works. Yeah, well, that works. That's fine. Is there any more elegant way of dealing with that? I don't think there really is, to be honest. So we're just going to do it like this for now. Adding in impact particles as well there for the actual attack is going to make it so much less obvious that those other particles are still happening and fading out. So we'll probably be fine. But the location offset, like 50 units to the Z up. Honestly, I'm just kind of experimenting with what looks good. Might also decrease the radius for that circle, because that looks a little bit big, to be honest with you. Maybe. One of them attacks me mid-air. It shouldn't be allowed to do that. But it was. And my mana is gone. Okay. And then we'll just make a particle system that just does a lot of a very big explosion of particles, pretty much. Can we multiply linear color with a float? So that's 0. If we just set that to like 10, that looks a lot better. So let's make this a system attribute, linear color, FX colors, we'll just call it. Compilation field, because we're not setting that. I've got a better idea. Let's make it a user parameter. Linear color. VFX color. And the default color will just be purple, and it'll probably the only color I actually use on this one, to be honest with you. So we just put that into there, and then I said we just put that, hello, we just put that into there, and now these are purple. Well, maybe we can even go like 50. Let's just make that a user parameter as well, so, because while we're at it, float brightness. Set the default to 50 as well. The drag and dropping on these things is not intuitive, I'm gonna be honest. Color for all of these will just be that. I'm so glad that I figured out that you can copy paste this. Because now we can simply do, and that just immediately looks so much less shitty. It still looks very basic, don't get me wrong. But less so. And I'm going to do a thing in a moment that's going to make it look a little bit better as well. But like instantly that looks less shit. Now I also want to scale size, sprite size by speed. And I think we want to set one of these to rotation. Orientation. Orientation, something like that. Hold on, there is a way to make them face their orientation. One of the default emitters does it, I believe. Is it directional burst? Might be directional burst. Scale sprite size by speed. I think that's it, but we already have that on this. So that might not be it. Yeah, no. They need to also be orientated towards their velocity. There is a way to do that. I just forgot what it is. This doesn't work so well at the moment. Let's Google real quick, because I remember doing this relatively easily at some point. Unreal, Niagara, orient sprite to velocity. Oh, hold on. I think I know what it is. It is in the sprite renderer, isn't it? Automatic velocity aligned. Okay, and now we can scale size by speed. And let's remove some of the clutter so that we can see what's actually happening. I think I also just need to like initialize particle here, uniform. Non-uniform. 1010, like 10-1, no, 110. That's what I'm looking for. So now they're little lines rather than little circles. Maybe it can be a little thicker than they are right now. Let's just copy over this sprite renderer. And the initialize particle. Set this to 4 maybe. Okay. Progress. We're making progress. At this point, all we really need to do is we need to scythe bursts FX. We're just going to copy that thing over. And what we're going to do is remove this one. Set both of these looping to only once. So loop once. The loop time will be 1 second. I said 1 second and once. This one's changing from a spawn rate to spawn burst instantaneous, which means that it doesn't even need to loop to begin with, I realize now. We won't have the kill particles in here anymore, and the point force will now be positive like 250 and come from a much smaller sphere location. There's only one. There's only one particle. Spawn burst entertain. I'm spawning one particle. That is right. Okay, now scale sprite size by speed. Now this one we actually want to, like, in initialize particle, make both of them just 1, 1. And then the scale sprite size by speed, what we do is we set 1, 1 as the minimum. And the maximum will be like 215. And we'll add some drag. So now what you can see is as they slow down, they don't, they become less elongated. And that kind of just mimics motion blur. Because of course in my game, motion blur on the engine level is turned off because I fucking hate it. I really do. But sometimes you still do want to have the like motion blur effects. And this kind of simulates that. So that's quite nice. I also want to have the shape location for the ring here. The radius, let's see, the radius. Maybe I don't even need that, to be honest with you. Maybe I just need this. Maybe that's all I need. Maybe the particles are the friends we made along the way. So let's spawn this in. Gameplay event. Deactivate that one. Attach Niagara system attached. With, once again, the mesh. And we'll clean up the positioning of all these nodes in a moment once everything actually works well enough. We'll also use the offset of 50 units here. Keep world scale, auto destroy, and we don't really need to have a new reference for that as well. And then we'll say bursts. Seem good at particles. I don't know that I'm good at particles. There's a couple of things that I can do relatively consistently, and there's a lot of things about particles that I still struggle with a lot of the time. But let's see what that looks like. Like, a lot of the particle stuff that I do is still just deforming the default circles rather than doing like... Well, that didn't fucking work, did it? Why not? No, seriously, why not? But like... Huh? Oh my god, Hold on, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, no, wait a second. I just... A spawn burst mesh. What? Don't know what the fuck that is, but it's side burst effect. Hopefully this one will render. Don't know what that other one is, to be honest with you. I probably made it at some point without... Oh, it's the... It needs a mesh location to work. That's probably the issue. Okay, that one should probably be world space, because that looked really weird. So let's make this one world space, and also I probably want actually the point force to be like 350. let's make that 450 and make the particle lifetime a little shorter, something like 1 second to 1.2 seconds instead. And I might also add a vortex force to it, because that always looks nice, and some chrome noise force and just fun stuff, right? But that does look pretty decent. So let's see what this looks like with some vortex force. Um, 500. Because that still then carries on the movement of the rotation that we've been working with for this entire thing. So I think that that works well. And then a little bit of chrome noise force just to make it a little bit more random how the things move. So noise strength can be like 500 might be a bit much. 100? Yeah, it just adds a little bit of randomness to every single particle's path. Pretty good stuff, right? Except for the fact that they're still trying to attack me while they're being pulled in, which they definitely should not be allowed to do. But like aside from that, that actually all works out relatively well. The only issue is that the particles for the pulling in do survive a little bit too long, and they still look a little bit messy as a result of that. Like if you pay attention to those specifically, I think it is this one that has that issue, and that makes sense because these particles, no, that doesn't actually make a lot of sense. Unless the point force for these ones, let's just make the point force for these ones a little. It's kind of funny how increasing that point force makes it feel like the particles, the ribbon particle here is moving faster, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah, it straight up just isn't. It's just because the rest of it moves faster that this now feels like it's moving faster. It's quite funny how that works. That's a lot better. Yeah, I like that. Okay, now I just need to figure out why it's still trying to attack me, because it shouldn't be. Yeah, it really shouldn't be. Because what I'm doing is in the pool to player, is I'm setting status stunned immobile. Let's just set it to status.stunned in general. And see if that changes anything. It might also be that just that specific guy's behavior tree is fucked. Because I don't think any of the other enemies have been trying to do that, so let's just test it out against those ghost boys. Do they try to attack me as well? Doesn't seem like they do. Let's just go to the save point. For enemies, do you use behavior trees or code them? Plus, I use the behavior trees with some of the things. Some of the tasks are made in Blueprint. Mostly like the decorators and stuff are made in Blueprint, and the tasks usually are made in C++. So yeah, I think it is a fault in their behavior tree. Let's see their BT assets. Do I not have... No, this definitely should be stopping when the actor is stunned. So let's check whether or not it does. I realized literally this week, by the way, because someone in the Discord sent me a screenshot of their behavior tree, that the behavior tree window like this doesn't actually get hidden behind the rest of your viewport. And it'll just overlay like this, which is really, really nice. So does it... Okay, it just does one of them randomly. And then when I do this... I mean, it still tried to attack me with one of them. But it really seemed like the behavior tree itself was stopping. I can just turn off and on their behavior tree altogether. Worst come to worst. Let's try to see if that makes any difference. Yeah, I've seen people... also, my internet connection is having trouble. So, I'm very sorry if the quality just dipped. I've seen that Unreal now has state trees, which are kind of like a combination of behavior trees and state machines. I think. I haven't looked into it yet, but I really should. Specifically because I made one behavior tree for my first boss fight, which kind of functions like a state machine in a behavior tree, which was just a nightmare to work with. So if I could drive that through a state tree instead, which is more like an actual state machine, that probably would have saved me a lot of headaches. But let's make... how are we going to do this? I think in the scythe itself, we already have... Oh my god, my internet is absolutely shitting itself. Probably somebody else is like watching Netflix on the network or something. I'm going to stop streaming on Twitch. The question is, does YouTube still receive data now? That's a very good question. I didn't think about that. It seems like it is. Maybe. Let's test this out. If I move this over here and I watch the preview on the YouTube live stream, does it move there in a couple of seconds? It does. Okay, so YouTube is still streaming. Twitch is absolutely fucked, but nobody was watching there anyway. Seems like my internet connection is kind of falling apart. Okay, so in the loop body here, we also say, hey, the character get AI controller, get brain, and we want to stop logic. Reason stunned. In case we actually end up ever doing anything with those reasons, probably not. And then on when they get hit, what we do is we wait for the damage player. That's earlier on already. We have a cast here somewhere. We do get AI controller, get brain, restart logic. I think we can also just use start logic. I don't care. That should just entirely disable anything to do with the behavior tree at all. Or anything with the AI components in general, I think. So that should now definitely not allow them to attack me anymore. And it seems like that has worked. So that is really, really good. And I think that's going to be a pretty decent place to leave things off, because my internet is shitting itself. And we've been live for like 2.5 hours almost, I think. And again, my internet is absolutely dying. A little under 2.5 hours. But we've made what we tried to make, and that is that gameplay ability. So there's just a lot of polishing that needs to be done, and like making it a little bit more fancy still. But the basic things are in place. So we did the thing that I was trying to do. And now I'm going to just relax and finally get to the cinnamon rolls I made, because they looked really, really good when I started streaming 2 hours ago. And I'll be back on Friday with some more stuff. I don't exactly know what we're going to do yet on Friday, because I've had this like, okay, we need to do a lot of the things to implement the scythe. I guess just polishing up things with the scythe, because there's still a couple of bugs with it appearing, disappearing. We need to link the special attack ability to actually be based on whichever weapon we're using, rather than being hard-coded in which one we're testing. So there's quite a bit of things to do still with the weapon system.